Hi friends, it's Valerie. Welcome back to another week's What's for Dinner. If you're new here, I'd love if you'd join my YouTube family. I put What's for Dinner videos out every Monday. And if you're coming back for another week and spending your time watching my videos, I just want to let you know I really appreciate you. So I've got 3 recipes again for you this week, and one of them is fabulous. If you've never had Mississippi pot roast, you want to make this now. It is so good. You will not regret it, if beef is your thing, of course. So other than that, let's just get started. This first recipe is Mississippi pot roast with some instant pot mashed potatoes and roasted carrots. For this recipe, you're going to need a 3-pound beef chuck roast, onion soup packet, some pepperoncinis, some ranch powder, a stick of butter. Also, you could sub the onion soup mix for au jus, and then a crock pot, of course, if that's how you're going to be making it. I'm just starting off by placing my chuck roast into the bottom of my crock pot. You could use a liner here to make it easier on yourself if that's what you like. And now I'm just going to be sprinkling on that ranch. If you have the packet, just use the whole packet, and then if you're measuring it from the container, I used about 2 1/4 tablespoons of that ranch powder. And then I'm just dumping the package of the onion soup mix on top, and I mix it up, or I shook it up, but the powder still kind of like stayed in one area, so I'm just using my little spoon here to go ahead and disperse that a little more evenly across. And then you're going to place your pepperoncinis on top, about 8 to 10, just depending. I had some very small ones in there, so I did do about 9 or 10 of those pepperoncinis. You can also use a little bit of the juice if that's what you'd like. I didn't use that, and it came out just fine. I know that can add a little bit extra spice. And then just go ahead and put your stick of butter on top of that. Place the lid on, and you're just going to go ahead and cook that on low for 8 hours and let it just do its thing. And then while that was cooking, when it was almost done, I went ahead and got started on my side dish. And so I'm making some instant pot mashed potatoes. So I went ahead and peeled, and I'm just cubing 3 pounds of yellow potatoes, and I'm placing them in the insert of my Instant Pot with just 1 cup of water and no trivet needed here. And then just go ahead and place that in your Instant Pot. Make sure it's set to sealing, and you're just going to cook that on high pressure for 6 minutes. And when that's done, you can instant release the pressure. And then as another side, I wanted some roasted carrots, so I'm just went ahead and peeled about 1 1/2 to 2 pounds of carrots. And now I'm just going to cut those into some smaller sticks here. And so I just cut them in half, and then in half lengthwise. And some of the bigger ends I do cut again in half, so that you want some even size pieces there. And then now I'm just seasoning them. I place some olive oil on top, maybe a few tablespoons. I'm not really measuring here, but a few tablespoons of that, some onion powder, some pink Himalayan salt, some ranch powder, some Italian seasoning, and a little bit of black pepper. And then I'm just going to go ahead and toss all those seasonings to coat all the carrots evenly. And I'm just going to go ahead and place those in to a baking sheet here that I went ahead and lined with some foil. I'm just going to spread those across, and you're going to go ahead and bake those at 425 degrees for around 20 minutes, and I did toss those about halfway through. So now back to my Instant Pot mashed potatoes. They were already done here, so now I'm just taking my hand mixer, and I'm going to go ahead and just use it to break up all those potatoes to mash them easier. It's like very fast that way. And now I'm going to be adding in 2 teaspoons of salt and about 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. I just stopped at that amount because I wanted to just taste it. I didn't want to overpower with too much pepper. And then I'm going to add in 1/2 cup of butter, and I'm using my hand mixer to just mix that up and make it nice and creamy and blend all that butter in. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in 1 1/2 cups of heavy cream. And I'm going to tell you now, this was too much heavy cream. Next time I would do this, I would cut it down starting at like 3/4 cup and just increasing it as I go, just to see how thick it is. This was a little too runny. Very delicious still, but a little runny for my liking. And then I'm gently folding in some sour cream here. It's about 1/2 cup of sour cream that I'm folding in. And now that roast is done, and as you can see, I'm just gonna pull it apart with 2 forks here. and the meat was super tender. It just fell right apart, as you can see there. So I went ahead and shredded that all up, and then I removed as much of the fat as I could, but I did that off camera. And wow, this juice is amazing. This whole roast is absolutely delicious. I cannot rave enough about how much we absolutely love this meal. So you'll just have to try that for yourself and let me know what you think. It's so good. This next recipe is taco casserole and Spanish rice. It's been a while since I made a video showing my Spanish rice, so I'm just going to show that again here. To my hot skillet, I am adding 3 tablespoons of canola oil. And then once that's heated up, I'm going to go ahead and add in 1.5 cups of white rice. And I'm going to just stir that around and get it all coated with that oil. And then I'm going to go ahead and just let that begin to brown, stirring it occasionally to make sure to brown all of the rice evenly. You do want that nice and golden brown, but not burnt. And guys, I'm so sorry about the shaky camera. I don't know what's going on, and I did try to cut out as much of it as I could from this video, but I'm not sure what's happening here. I did have to change some settings on I use my phone to record, and now I got it working again, but I don't know what was going on. So then I went ahead and added in some onions to this rice. Once it was done browning, I just added about a few handfuls, maybe about 1/2 cup of diced up onions, and I use frozen onions that I chop up previously, so they're ready to go for things like this rice. So I just dumped those in, and a little bit of cumin as well, just maybe about a teaspoon's worth, as well as about a teaspoon of garlic powder that I'm mixing in there as well. And now I'm adding in an 8-ounce can of tomato sauce, and I'm just going to go ahead and stir that into that rice to make sure all the rice is coated with that sauce. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my liquid, and I'm adding 3 cups of liquid here that I went ahead and mixed 2 bouillon cubes into that liquid to dissolve them. And then I'm just going to go ahead and give that a good stir to make sure everything is nice and mixed up. And I also taste my water, because what your water tastes like is what your rice is going to taste like. So once that comes to a boil, just go ahead and place your lid on and reduce your heat to a low simmer, and you're going to let that cook for 25 minutes, making sure not to lift the lid. And once it's done, you're going to let it rest for 10 minutes, still making sure not to lift the lid. So to get started next onto the meat, I am just heating up a pound of ground turkey here. You can use ground beef as well. And then I'm just going to using my meat tool here to just break that up. And once it's all browned, I'm going to go ahead and add in a packet of taco seasoning to that. I didn't drain the liquid from my meat, but you can if you'd like to. You can also add in a little bit of water if you feel like it's a little dry and the seasoning needs it. And then now I'm just going to add in some onions, maybe about 1/4 cup's worth here. Actually, I believe I added some more, so maybe about 1/2 cup's worth. And then I'm also adding in some bell peppers. And these 2 items I keep in my freezer, so they're frozen and they'll cook up really quickly in this. So I'm just adding about 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup of bell peppers as well. And then I'm going to dump in a 14-ounce can of Rotel and give that a good mix. Next, I'm going to be adding in 1/2 can of yellow corn here. I just wanted the extra vegetable, and I really do enjoy corn, so I went ahead and added that. And now I'm adding in some pinto beans. If you have a small can, like a 14-ounce can, you can just drain and rinse and add that whole can in. I had a larger can, so I'm just eyeing the amount that I think looks good to like meat to bean ratio. And then now I'm just going to take my 9x13 baking dish, and I gave it a quick spray of cooking spray, and I'm taking some flour tortillas and I split them in halves, and I'm going to place them into my baking dish, however works for you. I used about 8 total for me. And then you're going to go ahead and place a layer of your meat mixture on top of the tortilla, about 1/3 of your meat mixture you'll be using here, because you're going to have 2 more layers of this. So once you've got your meat mixture, you're just going to go ahead and place some shredded cheddar cheese on top of that, whatever amount you like to use. I just put a nice light layer. I think in total I used about 2 cups of cheese, maybe a cup and a half to 2 cups. So there's your second layer of tortillas, meat and cheese again, and then now a third layer of tortilla, meat and cheese, and then you're going to end that with 1 layer of tortillas. Then you're just going to go ahead and place that into your oven at 400 degrees, and you're going to go ahead and just bake it for about 8 minutes. While that was baking, I prepped some of my favorite taco ingredients, like some shredded lettuce, as well as some diced up tomatoes, and I also went ahead and cubed up an avocado to put on top of that as well. And you will see me pouring a little bit of lime juice on top of my avocado chunks. It just keeps them looking fresher a little longer, as well as I don't mind the lime flavor with it since I'm using this as like a taco topping. This casserole may not look so pretty coming out of the oven just because of all those cut up tortillas. You could find a way to arrange that a little bit better. There's that rice for you and all those toppings, and despite what it looked like, it tastes just great. It definitely did not disappoint. I topped that with some sour cream and hot sauce, and we really enjoyed this. And this last recipe is like a super quick version of chicken parm. I'm starting off by bringing a large pot of water to a heavy boil here, and I'm salting that very well and just giving my salt a little mix in there. Then I'm going to go ahead and add in my pasta, and I'm using penne. I believe it was about 8 ounces, maybe a little more. It's just what I had on hand. And then I'm just going to go ahead and let that cook to my package directions, which was about 8 minutes. And now I am just taking these chicken patties, I believe they're the Purdue ones, and I'm placing those into my air fryer at 400 degrees for 15 minutes. And while those cook, I'm going to go ahead and heat up my jar of sauce here, and I'm just using Prego, the mushroom one, and a little bit of water to get the rest of the sauce out of the jar, as well as a good little spoon of sugar there. I do like sugar in my sauce. If you don't like that, go ahead and leave it out. Now I'm just going to be getting some cheese together. I had some Parmesan on hand. Oh no, I didn't have Parmesan. I had some mozzarella on hand. So I'm just going to go ahead and shred that up. And now that those chicken patties are done in the air fryer, I'm placing a small spoon of the sauce on top. I don't get too heavy with it. I don't want it dripping all over the place in the air fryer. Just enough to coat the patty. We're going to be adding more sauce on the pasta. So I just add a little bit on top of each one. And then I'm just going to go ahead and top those all with that mozzarella cheese and place them back in the air fryer for just a minute to 2 minutes while that cheese goes ahead and melts. Here I'm just showing you how I assemble that. So I just put some pasta on a plate, I'm putting a little bit of sauce, and then I just place those chicken patties on top, and that is it. Super easy, super good. I didn't even make a side for this. Sometimes you just want a big old plate of pasta, and there you go. Super good, doesn't disappoint. Thanks for watching, friends. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future What's for Dinner videos. I hope you all have an amazing week.